This is a blog for Friday the 7th of November, Urban class. To start the session off, we didn't warm up as all the class came early and we did our technical routine before the session started, so that meant that Holly saved time and we were professional and we were in the right mindset, and we got straight into choreography. We changed the starting movements so that we don't need to travel onto the stage anymore, as originally we needed to do the tutting sequence whilst travelling from the side of the stage to come into position, but it's changed so that the curtains open and we're stood in our positions ready. So that happened, and then we also changed the formation of where people stood, as the principal dancers are more to the front and central and the ensemble dancers are behind filling in. We do the tutting sequence on the spot now, which is easier for everyone else and it looks a lot cleaner, because people aren't trying to move across from the side of the stage and they're just stood in one place and they can focus on the tutting movement. There's a little interlude between the first tutting sequence and the second tutting sequence, so there's a little gap, so we added in Hannah's phrase from a couple sessions ago to get into a tighter formation in the shape of an arrow. So we used Hannah's movements to get into that position and then to go into the second tutting movement where we added dynamics and changed levels, so people who are like at the front are on the floor and people at the sides are going more to the side. So I'm at the front, so I go on the floor and do my tutting sequence on the floor. And then after the tutting sequence has been completed, there's another interlude. So Holly made this into that people jump up on the beat. So the first line at the back jumps up, then that line, then the people at the front and the person on the front jumps up on the last one. So it's a nicer transition into going into a different set of movements. I need to improve my core, as on the video I jump and I'm quite lazy with my jump because I'm struggling to get up just from a jump into my position. So I need to improve my core strength, which I can do by doing some sit-ups, some planks, a lot of abdominal muscles exercises. And then the section after the tutting section is the section that I didn't know. I completely forgotten half of the choreography, so I was clueless. So we recapped the movements, as a lot of people like me forgot as well because we've not done urban class for a few weeks because of our performances. So we recapped the movements and we broke them down, which is useful as I now know the movements and just need to get comfortable with performing them. I know how to whack properly now, which is useful as my actions will look stronger now that it's been explained to me and showed to me, so this is an improvement. So I know how to whack properly now. And then after that little interlude, we split off into two rival gangs, and on the video I'm not really putting a lot of energy or attitude into it, so when you're going up against someone you need to be like, right, I can take you. I don't really have that attitude at the moment, so I need to put more attitude into my movement. I need to work on rippling my body, as there's a body ripple in it. I'm rippling the bottom half of my body, but then when it gets to like my waist, I'm just flinging my body forward, so it's not a smooth transition through the body. And then from that ripple there's a few movements and it goes into another interlude. I know the movements there, I just need to define them more and perform them more, because this lesson I was a bit iffy if I was going to mess the movements up, but I didn't. So I know the movements, I just need to continue to develop on them and put more attitude into them. We were then set a creative task. I was with Amy and Jess, and 3 different groups create one section and just that group performs it, so it fills out more and it makes it easier for the rest of us because we have a breathing space to get, to think about what's coming next, etc. With Jess and Amy, I didn't contribute much as I struggled to choreograph urban. I struggle to choreograph as it is because I feel like I'm not doing it good enough or anything like that. The only input I did add was that I suggested performing different movements to different directions, So I was disappointed with myself because of this, because I'd hoped to have more input, but I'm glad I had a little bit of input, so that I did actually contribute a tiny little bit though, so I need to work on this more and put forward my ideas. We then go into the chorus, which was originally the starting section of the routine. In the video, I look stronger on some sections than others, which is the chorus section, because we've done that the longest. And I'm on the bit where you go on your heels and you fling your arms around to then go back. I'm struggling to get on my heels, so it looks less effective than others and less dynamic. I think it's because some of the shoes I'm wearing, because some of the shoes I've got are quite old, so the heels aren't as strong and robust as some of my other shoes. So I'm going to try some other shoes, see if this does anything else, and if not, I'm going to ask Holly the tutor how I can get more on to my heels so I can look more sharp in my movements. We then added another section in with our arms so we don't move, so like my arms at the back are straight up, and then they impulse, and then they go to the sides and then in, and there's 3 people in line, and it looks really effective because you can also all you can see is these arms. So I got that section fine, that was completely fine. The banana section was another creative task which I was with Leah and Katie for. I struggled yet again as I wanted to make this section comedy and have fun with this section. So I created a Charleston step, but it didn't get added in because some people were struggling and they couldn't do it, so that got cut. There's Katie's movement, which was like pushing your hip to the side and then the other hip to the side, facing a partner, which I was able to do. And it looks quite effective, and it's quite simple, so it's good. I was able to pick up Holly's phrase quickly, which is at the start of the routine, but I struggled picking up Jess and Amy's sections, so I need to work on them more and practice externally. I just think I wasn't able to pick them up because I'd done so much throughout the session and recapped a lot, but that shouldn't matter anyway, so that shouldn't be happening. I should be able to pick up choreography regardless. So basically, today's session was used as a recap movement and add on a small section. I found today's session really helpful and useful as I know the movement now. I know a lot more movement and I'm more confident with the choreography. My strengths of the session were I have recap movement and I now know the movement, so I can keep rehearsing outside of college confidently, not wondering if I'm doing something wrong. My weakness was not picking things up fast enough, as this means I'm wasting time asking questions, and I'm getting myself stressed out when I just need to relax because I know I'll learn it anyway. My area to improve is don't think about things too much because I'm overcomplicating things to myself. And when I overcomplicate things to myself, I get the movements wrong and I don't think. So that concludes this blog.